We're here. We're live. How you doing, everybody? It's Bruce here, Traveling with Bruce, Stock Markets with Bruce, and on Facebook for Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my big live show for Monday, December the 28th, 2020, the last Monday live show of the year. And what a year it has been, huh? What a year. Unbelievable. Welcome welcome all to TWB. It's great to see you. Appreciate all of you spending some time with me today. I hope you had a good holiday break, Christmas time, Christmas Day. Those of you who celebrate Boxing Day, I hope that went well for you. Hopefully you were all able to spend some quality time through Zoom or through FaceTime or however it is with your family and friends, sharing hellos with everybody, keeping that social distancing going. And I hope you're all healthy and doing well. Jennifer and I here in Creston, British Columbia, we are just great. We're hanging right in there. We were alone here in the house, and it was just fun. We watch TV, YouTube, talk to all kinds of people, phone calls and Facebooks and face messaging and all that stuff. And it was just fantastic. Ate too many calories, which is part of the plan. And it's all good. And no complaints whatsoever. I went to the mailbox today, hoping that some more mail would show up today, but our post office is closed today. So I went to our post box here, nothing in there. Went downtown to the post box for TWB, and I did get a postcard from Kathy Mills, Charlotte, North Carolina. What a great shot this is, a night shot here. And she sent greetings to us. I really appreciate that. I love it, getting cards from you guys from around the world. Fantastic. I'm happy to send you one of my cards anytime. I've been doing this with donations to the channel, of course. So obviously it helps cover the cost. But thank you, all of you, for reaching out and sending us holiday messages. Don't know if you noticed, we did do a video. I did a video on TWB, Traveling with Bruce, from Creston, just the area around here. I took a bunch of photos with my iPhone 11 and then uploaded them and put them out there for you. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's pretty around here. It's pretty in the summer. It's pretty in the winter. The problem in the winter is we have very few hours of daylight to get photos made, because we if it's cloudy all day, it's cloudy all day. We only have about 8 hours of daylight here right now. We've just turned the corner. Our afternoons are getting longer now by about a minute a day, and that is great, because we used to have sunset at 4:48 local time. We're now around that 4:55 range or something like that. Soon it'll be 5 o'clock again, and then we'll gain 1.5 minutes a day. That'll extend. Eventually, we will eventually reach 3.5 minutes a day of additional daylight just in the afternoons. It really goes, but it'll take until June to reach the height. But in the next 60 days or so, we'll get a good hour back, hour and a half, maybe even hour and 3/4 of daylight back, and we'll be back to that 6:30 sunset time, and then expand it from there. So I'm looking forward to that. I love longer days versus shorter days. So fantastic. Thank you for popping in to see me today. Tell me where you're watching me from. If you're watching me on Stock Markets with Bruce, say hi to me. I've got my screen on here on my big ass iPad. I've got it going right over here, and I see messages popping up here. Believe me, I do. There it is right there. It's running. It's running. It's kind of thinking about, there I am. I'm up there. And I can see the messages coming in there. Thank you. And if you're watching me on Traveling with Bruce, I've got you on my big ass iPhone, and also on my software over here, where I see all the messages, including those of you who are watching me on Facebook. If you're watching me on Facebook, say hi to me. Tell me, make sure you include your name when you say hi to us, because it'll only say Facebook user. It doesn't tell me who you are, and I'll be more than happy to give you a shout out. Did you get what you wanted for Christmas? I'm kind of curious. I got a skill testing question for all of you out there. Think back, because I know the audience watching me tonight. If I know my audience, I know you're kind of my age. You're older, not younger. When you were a kid, what was the one thing you wanted the most of anything you ever wanted for Christmas, whether you got it or not? Do you remember what you were asking Santa for when you were younger as a child that you were hoping to get? Do you remember what it was? I'll go first. I asked in 1963, I asked for a toy called the Big Bruiser. Does anybody know what the Big Bruiser was? What it actually was a motorized, electronically motorized tow truck that was capable of picking up any kind of vehicle, including transport trucks. One of these things, it had a motorized hook that went down in the back and then lifted up, and it came with a little plastic toy pickup truck, and it had interchangeable fenders. So you could the pickup truck would be in mint condition, or you could snap off the bumper and put on a bumper that was all crinkled up with a flat tire. So you could pretend that it was off the side of the road, and the Big Bruiser truck would come along, and you'd pick this thing up and tow it away. That to me was like the toy of toys. I was like 8 years old, and I wanted the Big Bruiser. I asked for it for 3 years in a row. Didn't get it in the first year. Didn't get it in the second year. I got it in the third year, and I figured out, many years later, I figured out what was going on. My mom and dad, they knew I wanted this darn thing. And the first year it was available, it wasn't on sale. It was full price. The second year I wanted it, it was still so popular that it didn't go on sale. The third year I asked for, and by that time, the popularity of the toy had subsided quite a ways, and I think they got it for 50% off. And oddly enough, I played with it for about a year. And then one day I was playing with it in the backyard, and I left it in the backyard of the house. And a day or so later, we had a major hailstorm, thunderstorm, rain, and the vehicle got covered in water and everything. And of course, being operated by batteries, it was shot. The electronics were shot on it, and it rusted out. And the last time I saw that toy was about 2 years later, when my dad kind of picked it up and threw it in a garbage bag because the kid hadn't touched it in 2 years. So I never kept it. But I'll tell you this, you have a Big Bruiser toy tow truck in mint condition in its original box. It's worth a fortune. It's worth a fortune. But not this guy, not this guy. So you guys let me know, what toy did you want? What year was it? You remember the year? What year was it? What was the toy you wanted? You were asking, you were begging, you were pleading with Santa to help you out, bring it along. Did you get it? Did you not get it? Did you end up buying it yourself when you became an adult? Let me know, and we'll read those comments. Again, thank you for for joining this show today. If you got any questions about cruising, let me know. I'll do the best I can to answer them for you. If you got any questions about the stock market, since we're here with Stock Markets with Bruce, with that crap, you let me know what you want to know about the markets. I'll do what I can to see if I can say hi to you on that. And thank you for popping in, all right? It's nice of you to be here. I did a video last night. I uploaded it late last evening about Carnival. Where are all the Carnival cruise ships? All 24 of the Carnival brand cruise ships. And got that video up late last night, and it's had a couple thousand views so far. Most of you seem to enjoy it. I get very few thumbs downs on the video. I did one for Norwegian last week. I did one for Royal Caribbean already. Where are these ships hanging out? It's kind of interesting to see where these ships are and what they're doing. Some ships are nowhere near where they're going to be when they're going to start sailing with paying passengers. In the case of the Carnival Radiance, which used to be known as the Carnival Victory, it's over in the Cadiz, Spain right now in the shipyard getting redone. I think it's a $200 million rebuild, and that's a big job. And the ship will be renamed the Carnival Radiance. I think they're putting another deck, like at least one or two decks on top of the ship towards the front. above the bridge and all that. They've done that on another ship already. I'm not sure if it's the Sunshine or the Sunrise, one of the two. That ship will eventually work its way, apparently, to, I think, Seattle. It's going to do Alaska cruisings, if I recall. But interesting how the ships are where they are right now and where they're going to be. I know that the Mardi Gras, the brand new ship that just got handed to Carnival, last week, that ship is probably right now near Gibraltar in that region, and it's supposed to head for Port Canaveral. It's supposed to sail out of there. But Carnival's been saying that they're hoping, crossing their fingers, that they're going to sail in the first week of March with a bunch of their ships, and in April and May. But I'm not sure if sailings will actually begin for anyone by March. We will find out on the 21st of January. This is my prediction, my bold prediction. The 21st of January will likely be the earliest day, I think, that we're going to hear from the CDC about what's going on with cruise ships in and out of U.S. ports. So for Americans, Canadians, North Americans, we're going to find out right after Biden takes office, a day or two after, what the CDC is really going to want to do, what they're going to say, and then the cruise lines will let us know with the CLIA what's going on. Now, will there be a consultation period between the new directors of the CDC and the cruise line people? Maybe. Maybe that'll take a few days after Inauguration Day, and we won't hear anything until maybe the first week of February. I don't know. But we're going to find out, well, will or will there not be a new no-sail order instituted? And then what will the rules be going forward to allow sailings to begin? And the big question, the number one question on, I think, most people's minds will be, will it be mandatory for everyone to be vaccinated to get on a cruise ship? So the first folks to get vaccinated on board a cruise ship, the crew, you're talking up to 2,200 crew members on board an Oasis class ship for Royal Caribbean. 2,200 people to be inoculated, and that's a two-stage process. Just think about the money involved here for Royal Caribbean, then think about the other cruise lines and all their passengers, all their crew members. We're talking 380,000 crew members worldwide that used to work on board cruise ships. It might be down now to 350,000. If you want to bring a third of the fleet back across the board, you're going to have to vaccinate 115,000 crew people, and that will have to be verified, quote unquote, verified by all health authorities worldwide. Wherever this ship is going to go, if you're on a Carnival ship and you're going to sail to 10 different Caribbean countries, or whether you're on a Carnival or a Royal Caribbean or a Norwegian ship or whatever the cruise line is, you're sailing Asia, you're sailing Europe, wherever that ship's going to go, those crew members all have to be cleared, quote unquote, by the health authorities going forward. And so these cruise lines are going to be spending a major amount of money to get their crews vaccinated for the first time, and then 3 weeks to 4 weeks later, the second time, same arm, different arm, I don't know. Then that has to be verified. The crews are going to have to all be tested, I'm sure, multiple times to make sure that the vaccine is working, because we've heard numbers from 70% to 95% effective for the vaccine. We need to know, the cruise line needs to know, the health authorities need to know, the CDC in America, they're going to want to know, if you vaccinate 2,200 people on the Symphony of the Seas, the crew members, are all of them protected from the virus? Have any of them contacted it? Because if 5% of the crew are not protected against the virus, that's 110 crew members out of 2,200 that could catch the virus. So what happens now? Well, how do we know who isn't protected? So these tests are going to be done on everybody. Then there's you and me and anyone else wanting to go on a cruise. We're all going to have to be vaccinated to get on a ship. I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. And then the same game. 4,000 people might be allowed to go on the Symphony of the Seas instead of 6,500 capacity. 4,000 people, if 95% of those people are protected, but 5% are vulnerable, and I'm talking about the best case scenario right now, that is 200 potential passengers that could get infected, plus 110 crew. That's 330 people on a ship of 6,200 that could be vulnerable to the virus. You betcha there's going to be testing mandatory prior to, on embarkation, and probably on the cruise itself. Who's going to pay for that? You and me. We're going to pay for it. It's going to be built into the fare. Trust me on this one. We're going to have to see how all this plays out. There's a lot of stuff to go on. I'm just worried, or I'm curious, how will the cruise lines handle the vaccination of all of their crews? Because they're not in Miami right now. There aren't 2,200 crew people looking to go on the Symphony to start work tomorrow or next week or in March. They're back in, where they live. The Philippines, Indonesia, India, Pakistan, China, Taiwan, Vietnam, or wherever they're from. I mean, they're from around the world. There are, in some cases, on some cruise ships, the crews are from 80 different countries. 80 countries represent some of the crews on board cruise ships. So you got to think about the logistics of getting crew members vaccinated from as many as 80 different countries. Then you got to figure out how to get them to their ship. And if the ship is sitting off the coast of the Bahamas right now, that's where the Oasis class ships kind of are, or that's where they're headed. You got the Symphony of the Seas just in the Bahamas area. How are you going to get 2,200 crew to that ship and then allow that ship into Miami so that they can pick up paying passengers? The logistics that the cruise lines are going to go through, the hoops they're going to go through, are going to be unbelievable. There's going to be mandatory quarantine on board. There's going to be inspections by the CDC for each ship to be certified. What about the accommodation on board cruise ships for crew? What will the CDC insist on regarding what kind of accommodation the crew should have? Will it be allowed as before, where crew members were sharing a small little 80 square foot cabin between the two of them? They had bunks, one above, one below, a little closet here, a little closet here, and then the bathroom down the hall. Is this going to be allowed by the CDC going forward? Or will the CDC say, no. We're not going to allow the cruise lines more than 50% occupancy, number one, for the passengers. So that's going to take ships down by half, which means the crew numbers might be down to 60% instead of 100%. And then on top of that, they might insist that crews have their own cabins with their own bathrooms. Well, if you're going to do that, I suspect that the lowest level inside rooms that used to be sold to passengers won't be sold to passengers anymore. Those are now going to become crew quarters so that crew have their own room with their own bathroom to adhere to CDC rules. Now, if the brand new ships like Symphony of the Seas, the Oasis of the Seas, Harmony of the Seas, these brand new ships, the Carnival Panorama, the Mardi Gras for Carnival, Enchantment of the Seas for Princess, if these brand new ships have enough inside cabins that they can convert to crew cabins and get crew members out of the bowels of the ship, bring them up to level 3, 4, and 5, put them in there, that might work if you have 50% capacity of the ship. But if you wanted to go to 100% capacity, you're not going to be able to. You can't sell the inside rooms. You might be stuck at 50, 60% capacity, which is just balcony rooms only. The crews are going to have to take the ocean view and inside rooms as their accommodation. That means those crew quarters down there won't be allowed to be housed in. They won't be able to sleep in there 2 to a room anymore, and even 1 to a room because you don't have a bathroom in there. Because if you've got to quarantine somebody, you got to quarantine them in a room with a bathroom. So there's all this. There's a lot of unknowns And under the current administration that's running the CDC and the health departments and all, we have no idea what's going on because the cruise lines and the CDC have not come to a final sale agreement thing. They talked about test cruising and all that. That's all been delayed and put onto the side. The new administration takes over January 20th, 21st. It might take a few weeks before we find out what the new rules might be then. And then we find out, well, we're not even going to have we're going to have a no sale date until June. And between January 21st and June 1st, between then we'll have the new rules released and discussed and worked out. I have no idea. Cruise lines, I think right now are on pins and needles and walking on eggshells, wondering what kind of renovations are we going to have to do to our ships just for the crew before we even talk about passengers going forward, because this so-called idea of packing the crew down below decks 2, 3, and 4, packing them down there, those days might be over. That might no longer be allowed anymore. And there may well have to be some serious changes made. These older ships, actually, they might work out for the older ships, because ships that used to hold, say, would hold 2,500 passengers, they might have only held 1,400 in balconies, but they held 1,100 in inside rooms. That's crew quarters. That now might become crew quarters, that 1,100 or 800 of the 1,100, whatever the number is. And again, those ships will be limited to only 1,400 passengers in balcony cabins. Again, the cruise lines are going to have to do the math. They're going to have to figure out, oh my gosh, if we're limited to half or 60% capacity and only balcony cabins can be sold for, let's say, the next year, starting the first year until 2022, 2023, they're going to have to do the mathematics as to how many passengers are going to be on board, how many crew, how many dollars to renovate, and how much are we going to have to charge our passengers to make this work. And this is the big mystery. The stockholders out there, back for all my viewers from Stock Markets with Bruce, the shareholders of these cruise lines, I bet you most of them have no idea what I'm talking about right now, that they didn't know that this could be a possibility, that there are people out there blindly, faithfully walking down the yellow brick road, buying shares of Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian stock, thinking that the minute the vaccine is distributed, the cruise lines will go back to normal. You'll fill them up with passengers and you'll just go sailing again. It's going to be great. But no, oh no. And if the vaccine is only 80% effective instead of 95, we got a bigger problem, because now you might have a ship with 6,000 people or 3,000 with 1,000 crew and 2,000 passengers. 600 of them might be susceptible to the virus at any time. And under the CDC rules right now that I've heard, if you're in day 3 of a 7-day cruise and one person on a ship gets a positive result, whether it's a false negative or not, a false positive or not, it doesn't matter. One positive result on day 3 of a 7-day cruise, everybody is in lockdown. Ship is going back to the port that it came from. And there might be a mandatory 2-week quarantine at the port or 10 miles offshore from Miami. That's the last I heard. I don't know if that's going to be the new rule. Can you handle it? Can you handle a vacay like that, where you at any time could be on a mandatory 2-week quarantine at any moment in time from the first day of the cruise to the last day of the cruise? I don't know. It might be a mandatory quarantine on land. You might have to be taken to specific hotels where the cruise lines have made reservations just in case. And you can't go home. You cannot drive to your home. You cannot fly to your home. You are stuck there. Well, your airline reservations, they're screwed up, because you might have wanted to fly home the day of the disembarkation or the day after. Well, now it's 2 weeks. You gotta grapple with that. The cruise line might compensate you. They might not. They might sell you insurance. They might not. There's a whole lot of issues here. By the by, before I say hi to everybody and read the comments, I saw something interesting yesterday. I was surfing yesterday because I wanted to try to figure out whether you want to go on a cruise or whether you want to go on an all-inclusive vacation as your first getaway once you're allowed to travel again, once we've got this vaccine. So I was looking up, just for fun, I was looking up deals on cruise ships through, I was on vacations2go.com online, just looking up. And I was looking up Caribbean cruises for later this year, like June kind of thing, 2021, June 2021. And at the same time, I was comparing a getaway on an all-inclusive vacations like a Sandals, a 1 week all-inclusive Sandals getaway, because I'm trying to compare as much as I can, apples to apples, because cruise vacations usually include all your meals, at least in the main dining room, the buffet area, what used to be the buffet, room service, unless there's a small delivery charge. Would include that. Might not include drinks, so you'll pay extra for drinks, but you get drink packages. So I was trying to figure out, an all-inclusive resort versus more or less an all-inclusive vacay on a cruise ship, or at least a cruise ship with a few add-ons to make it more or less all-inclusive. And I found something rather interesting yesterday. I noticed it on one of the cruise lines. I believe it was Royal Caribbean, but I think I also noticed it on Norwegian, perhaps Carnival, and certainly on higher end cruise lines. I noticed something interesting. It was not only did they have the price of the room available, standard stuff, then they showed the taxes and port charges, standard stuff. But then I noticed there was an optional thing you could buy now. I don't know if any of you have noticed this on your kind of surfing the internet. Go to some of these websites for these cruise lines. There's a new optional extra that I've not seen before, where you can buy what they have a different name for it depending on the cruise line. But to me, it's a form of insurance, but it's not the typical insurance we're used to. It's kind of an all-inclusive type of a package deal. I found two versions on some of these cruise lines. They had sort of like the silver version and the platinum version, or the gold version and the platinum version. One is more expensive than the other, obviously. But what it entailed was it included trip interruption insurance, baggage loss, flight cancellation insurance, medical coverage to a degree, refund insurance, which I found really interesting. So if your holiday is coming up, you booked like a year in advance for your cruise, and you say paid 10 grand between you and your travel partner for everything, including this package. If you've got the cheaper package, the cheaper insurance package, you get 80% of your fare back. But if you book the more expensive protection package, you get 90% of your fare back. The 10% you don't get back is that money you just paid to get the coverage, basically, because it's about 10% of the price of your cruise. It included evac insurance up to, I think, $50,000 to get you home from wherever you're medically, in trouble from. And this covers, like, you have a heart attack or a high blood pressure issue, you get ill, you fall, you hurt yourself, or COVID. It seems to cover it all from what I can gather, although I really didn't find as much fine print as I was looking for, to be honest. But this is new. This is new for me. I hadn't seen this because I haven't bothered going to cruise line websites lately to shop for a cruise. No one's cruising. No one's going to be cruising. But now all of a sudden, I'm noticing these add-on policies, and I've been advocating for 2 years since I started the channel 3.5 years ago almost. I know for at least 2.5 years I have been saying that it would be in the cruise line's best interests to really offer or make it a mandatory, inclusive part of a cruise fare, that it would cover medical and travel insurance. It would be automatically built in to your fare. It isn't even optional. It's just in there, because I maintain that a cruise line can go shopping with Zurich Insurance, let's say, then go to the Zurich group and say, hi, Zurich, Royal Caribbean here. We've got 38, 45, 60 cruise ships in our fleet, all of our brands. Carnival, 95 ships in all of our brands. We'd like to buy Zurich Insurance, protecting our passengers for every ship we've got, every voyage, every sailing we're going to make for the next 5 years. We'd like to talk about a 5-year deal for every passenger, every ship, all the new ships, you name it. We want to cover mechanical breakdowns. We want to cover medical insurance for all of our passengers, travel insurance, hurricane issues. We want to cover canceled flights. We want to cover it all. We want to have an all-inclusive, comprehensive, full-blown deal for every sailing, every passenger, every ship. We're talking millions of policies, millions, 5 years. I'll bet you that if Carnival went to Zurich and 4 other insurance companies, they can go global. They don't have to just shop in the US. They would get some very competitive prices for these services, because these insurance companies would go, oh man, this is great. 90 out of 100 cruises, nothing goes wrong. It's those 10, and even then there's partial issues. Sometimes somebody needs a medical issue, or somebody breaks, twists an ankle, sprains an ankle. We have someone who has a heart condition. I mean, this happens, but it's a small number. I mean, the insurance companies know the numbers. This is their business. They're in the number business, the prediction business. They're going to look at Carnival and say, "Whoa, yeah, we'll make you a deal. Oh yeah, we'll definitely make you a deal." And on a per person, per cruise cost basis, it would be minuscule. But for the cruise line and for the insurance line, it would be a really a good policy. Insurance company will make money, but passengers will be protected, and the cruise line will have a scenario where, you know what, if someone gets ill on board one of our ships and they have to go down below to our medical center, we've got a doctor there, we've got nurses there, we have equipment there. The good news is the person that's coming in, we're going to be paid to treat that person because they're insured. They're covered. We've got the insurance for them. And so if it's a major medical issue, there's insurance. If it's a minor issue, the cost of putting on a Band-Aid or wrapping a wrist or something like that, it's not going to be that much money. It's going to be covered. It's all covered. And the insurance company will work with the cruise line and the medical team, and they'll work out the claims for the passenger. You're talking about worry-free travel around the world. I'm talking global. So if you're in Italy and you sprain your ankle, on a ship tour, you're covered. You're still covered. Even though you're not on the ship, you're covered. You were getting off the bus and you fell down, you're covered. I sound like Jerry Seinfeld. You're covered. If you're on the ship and you don't feel well, or COVID breaks out, I mean, God forbid, whatever the issue, there's protection there. That to me is such a major home run deal that I can't understand why all the cruise lines aren't scrambling to get this and then brag about it. This would be the core of my advertising campaign to my clientele. If I were a cruise line, I know who my viewers are. The viewers, the sailors, the customers of a cruise line are the viewers of TWB. What are the viewers of TWB? The viewers of TWB, this channel right here, the Stock Markets with Bruce channel, I'm pointing at my biggest iPad. The viewers of these two channels are, generally speaking, 45 and older. They're not 15 to 35-year-old kids. I have a few, and God bless you if you're watching me. I love you. But most of my viewers are 45 and older, and they're over 60% of my viewers, maybe 70% of my viewers. And medical coverage is a big deal to us in day-to-day life, at home, at work. A lot of us have jobs that we will not quit because of insurance. We're tied to our employer because of the medical coverage we have. We don't dare quit. We pray not to get laid off and fired. Going on a cruise for a 65, 70-year-old cruiser, knowing that you're covered from A to Z with 0 deductibles. Because again, this policy can be brought down in price so low because of the millions of people paying into it. The insurance companies will go, yeah, 0 deductible, not a problem at all. For us to travel 0 deductible globally on a cruise line, that would be, as president of a cruise company, the number 2 thing I would talk about. The number 1 thing, how great our ships are, how great our holidays are, how great our ports are. But the number 2 thing, covered every way to Sunday for anything. That's what should be going on. But no, Bruce goes on to the internet and I look up these quotes for cruises, and I am finding they're offering some kind of protection package, but it's a cheap one, a more expensive one, and it doesn't cover everything, and it's got limitations on it, and it's kind of wishy-washy. It's not like full blown. And I'm kind of going, it sounds to me like you still have to buy your own insurance just to be on the safe side, and you better check before you go anywhere what kind of insurance you can get. Check with the AAA. Here in Canada, through the Canadian Automobile Association, the Automobile Club, I was able to get travel insurance, very comprehensive for Jennifer and I. But I don't know what the situation is for you, wherever you are. But right now, you're still on your own. And with COVID, I have no idea what will happen. So there's some thoughts from me right now about where we're at with the big picture for cruising. And I'd love to get your comments, your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Welcome one, welcome all to Traveling with Bruce and Stock Markets with Bruce and my Facebook group page. I'm really glad you're all here today. Let me take a quick peek. Danielle was here 43 minutes before showtime. Michelle, hi, Bruce. Hope you had a safe and blessed Christmas. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Michelle. Tim Bowman, hi again, Bruce. Greetings from a now dark and chilly Seattle. Fortunately, no rain for a few days. Pass that on, because we're here in the snow country. We're apparently supposed to get flurries. Jeannie, hello, everybody. It's Monday Night Live with Bruce. Bill and Jeannie are watching from East Tennessee, another one of my sponsor members like Tim Bowman. Thank you guys for that. Robert Glenn, hello, Bruce from Boston. Have a happy New Year's to you and the group. And do you still like GameStop? I do like GameStop. That's a stock market question. GameStop, GME. I started talking about this stock in August, September. It was $4 or $5 a share. The most heavily shorted stock on the stock exchange, bar none. Percentage of shares in existence versus how many shares are shorted. There are more shares actually shorted than exist. And so if everyone who doesn't have stock tries to buy back stock to be flat, they can't buy it all back. There aren't enough shares available. The stock is now in the $21 range, $21 range. It's going much higher, much higher. And I heard today that there's a brokerage firm, I think it's Jefferies, that is in discussions with the company to possibly issue $100 million worth of stock from the treasury of GameStop into the market. And my guess, $20 a share, it'll only be 5 million shares. That is less than 1/10 of all the shares shorted. So if everyone who bought that stock, if they get it offered to them and they're short right now, if they buy that stock at $20 a share, there will still be at least 45 million shares still shorted against the stock, which tells me these guys could issue $1 billion in stock and I don't think they'll still cover it all. Unbelievable. This company is about to raise a lot of fresh cash at much higher prices per share than even 4 months. Anyone could have thought 4 months ago. These shares are going much higher. That's my hunch on GameStop. Yes, I do like it. Shane, welcome, Bruce from Calgary. Shane, thank you very much. I know you were watching me on Stock Markets with Bruce. Shane, thank you. Margie is here. David, Sharon, Johnny V, Rod Galloway, Fly Everest, Paul Stevens, and Rocky Grasso, Adventures with Duncan. Paul Stevens again, Alex Poling, you're all watching me on Stock Markets with Bruce. welcome all of you on my small channel. And those of you here on TWB, welcome on my big channel, like Brittany Anderson. Hello, Brittany. Welcome to the show tonight. Jeff Rushong, howdy, Bruce, and TWB fan base. Happy holidays and wishes for a safe and happy new year. Thank you, everybody, for that. All the best to you as well. Noah Lemon, hello, Bruce. I have missed so many live streams. The last one I saw was in September. Wow, this is my first time back in a long time. I missed them so much. Very excited for tonight. Thank you, Noah, for being here today and keeping an eye on my channel. I appreciate it. Margie, thank you again, Margie, for being here. Kirk Brunson, hello there, Bruce, from Kirk in New York City. I'm here. Nice going live with you, and my son says hi on the sponsor member show that I have every Monday, an hour before this show, and every Friday at 3 o'clock in the Eastern time. Especially Monday nights, I invite viewers to join me live. Come on camera with me, hang out with me. We had 2 viewers with us today, joining me live today. It's such a pleasure to see you in person, to share camera time with you. Become a sponsor member of this channel, and you can join me live every Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern until 8 o'clock Eastern, because at 8 o'clock Eastern Monday nights, this show goes live on the big channel. Thank you, Kirk, for joining me today. It was a lot of fun having you, along with your son, Sam. He was great. Roy, hello, Bruce, from North Kawartha, Ontario. Roy, I swear, this is caffeine-free Diet Coke. That's all I've been drinking. I can't get my tongue going today. Roy, thank you for being here tonight from Northern Ontario. Nice to have you here. Michelle, get some lemon, ginger, and honey for that cough, Bruce. Oh, I'm working on. I've got some cough syrup. It's just a dry, catchy thing. It's not COVID. I'm fine. It's all right. Mirel Levesque. Hi, Bruce and TW family. Welcome from Laval, Quebec, I believe. Thank you. I believe I have that right. Thank you for being here, everybody. Dancing with Nature. Hey, how you doing, Dancing with Nature? Brittany, I saw gas today ranging from $1.69 to $2.09. Much more expensive than that here. Dan Massey, good evening, Bruce. A little colder in Hamilton, Ontario today. Welcome, Dan, from beautiful Hamilton, Ontario. Nice to have you here today. All those folks living in the gorgeous St. Catharines and Niagara Falls, Buffalo area, welcome. I know it's winter, though. I hear you. Super Robert Willis. Hi, Bruce, from Chingford, London. Welcome, Super Robert Willis. Eamon, last live show of 2020, a year that we will love to forget. Thanks, Bruce, for keeping us up to date. Even if the news wasn't so good, with a bit of luck, you'll be able to bring better news in 2021. I'm hoping for the best. I want to go cruising. This sweatshirt I'm wearing right here, this sweatshirt was from a group cruise I didn't get to go on. It was supposed to be on this ship, the Harmony of the Seas, and the group cruise did not happen in December, unfortunately. So, yes, I can't wait to go. David, good evening, David. Sharon, hi again. Between shows, Kevin mixed us a couple of Diet and Stormies. Way to go, Diet Darks and Stormies. Wow, we're getting great sunsets at 4:35. She's saying, Muriel, last live of 2020. That's true, although I'll be live on Friday. But that will be in the new year, won't it? That's right. That'll be in the new year. That'll be the first live show. Daryl Watts, hello from Oklahoma. Daryl, buddy, how you doing? Welcome from beautiful Oklahoma. Johnny V, bonsoir, Bruce, and Tito family from Montreal. Welcome from Montreal, Johnny V. Nice to have you here tonight. Rod, San Diego, California, saying howdy. Welcome, Rod Galloway from San Diego. Beautiful place. I used to drive to San Diego on occasion from Palm Springs, California, from Palm Desert, where I used to live back in the mid-2005 range, 2006. I used to drive on the Palm to Pine Highway from Palm Desert all the way through the pass, and you get up into about 4,000 feet elevation, and all of a sudden, you're going from dry rock, like bedrock in the Flintstones, you're going from dry rock, all of a sudden you're in pine trees. Because the Pacific air, with all that moisture, it goes so far only, and then it loses all the moisture at about 4,500 feet, 5,000 feet elevation. And from then on, it's pine trees. It's incredible. And then you get to Temecula, and you're back to desert and cactus and palm trees. Then you get to San Diego, where it is gorgeous. And welcome from a beautiful place, San Diego, California. Kevin Chapman, hi, Bruce. Thanks for all the TWV viewers who purchased Lethal Voyage. Truly appreciate it. Looking for TW fan reviews on Amazon. If you got yourself one of these books right here, you got your hands on this. Lethal Voyage from Kevin Chapman, a Mike Stoneman thriller, or if you got your hands on these, the first two Kevin Stoneman thrillers, Kevin Chapman, look them up. Go to Amazon, get yourself these. You'll enjoy them. This is a 6-day cruise to Bermuda from New York City. You can read it in like 1 or 2 days. It is fantastic. Check him out, read him, and then give that man a positive review on Amazon. Helps him sell more books. Absolutely. Sylvan, hi, Bruce, and everybody. Welcome, Sylvan Forrest, to my show tonight. David Guido, hi, Bruce. Was Santa good to you? No complaints. Jennifer and I, we're now at that age where we're not high maintenance people. We don't have one of those high maintenance relationships where we've got to outdo each other every birthday and Christmas. We're not like that. So we made sure to buy a bunch of chocolate. And Jennifer baked a chocolate cake, which is delicious. We have biscotti as well that she makes. Fantastic. And we just hung out and talked to our daughter and some friends and relatives, and we had a great, and Santa was very good to us this year. Safe and healthy. Sharon, yes, I'm on the stock market station giving you listening time there. Thank you very much. Michelle from Brooklyn, New York City. I got a bunch of New Yorkers here. Love you guys. Mickey is my spirit animal. Tracy, how you doing? Good evening, Bruce and TWB family and Stock Markets with Bruce fam. From Tracy in the Big Apple. I'm telling you, I got all kinds of folks from the Big Apple watching me. Daryl, I didn't get anything for Christmas this year. Daryl, you must have been bad. Rod, skipped Christmas this year. I just skipped it. Noah Lemon, I really hope 2021 is better than 2020. I mean, it's almost impossible to be worse. I'm with you there, Noah. I totally agree. Marielle, hi, Sylvan Forrest. Hope you are doing well. Barbie doll house is what I wanted when I was a kid. I wanted a Barbie doll house. Tell me, folks, what did you want when you were a kid that you asked for big time? Did you get it? Did you not get it? Suzanne Morrow, white go-go boots. Oh, we're talking Nancy Sinatra. These boots are made for walking. I know that era. Brittany, my husband and I took a little vacation for Christmas. We just went to see his grandmother. We left to go see her after seeing my dad at Christmas Day, and we came back today. Fantastic. Fly Everest decided to try Stock Markets with Bruce instead of traveling with Bruce. It's a great channel too. It sure is. Jeff, Rock'em Sock'em robots. You remember those? Rock'em Sock'em, you hit the guy in the chin and the whole thing pops up. I remember that. Facebook user. This is Claudia from Atlanta. How you doing, Claudia? You're on Facebook tonight watching me there. I really didn't want anything this year. I hear you there. What did you want when you were a child? Do you remember the thing you wanted the worst? Do you remember? Rock'em Sock'em robots, Kirk is saying. Roy, train set. The train sets. Lori from Mount Horeb, Wisconsin. We are in a storm warning starting tomorrow. 6 to 8 inches expected here. I asked in 1966 for a piano. Didn't get one until I got married. Laugh out loud. I hear you. Michelle Kirk Brunson. I remember those. Rock'em Sock'em robots. Mickey, Tracy, Cabbage Patch Kid. A lot of kids wanted that for Christmas. Paul Stevens really wanted walkie-talkies in 1967. Still waiting for them. The walkie-talkies. I remember that. The 60s they came out. It was huge. If you had a buddy of yours that got a walkie-talkie, you wanted to be your buddy's best friend, because guess what? The buddy had to give the other one to somebody, and it would be you. And now you and your buddy could play hide and go seek or hang out in the neighborhood. Oh, those are so much fun. Yeah, the old walkie-talkies. Ken Kuchera, Janet, and Ken from Michigan are in the house. How are you guys doing? Temperature is 28 degrees. Gas price $2.09. Happy New Year. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're having a good time here. I hope you're enjoying the show tonight. I'm having all kinds of fun here. Sylvan, I never get what I want for Christmas. I asked for an electric train 4 years in a row until I bought myself one for $20. Yes, electric trains have always been, somewhat pricey, but they are much loved for sure. Kirk Brunson, Game of Life. I wanted Game of Life. You remember that game? Share. Okay, I'm still casting from the TV, from the stock market channel, but the conversation is better over here. So I also have this going right on. Arc Adventures. Hi, Bruce. Happy Monday. Andy and Andrea from St. Louis. Welcome, you guys. Welcome, both of you. I saw that picture of you, Andy, on my Facebook group page. Traveling with Bruce Facebook group page. You posted the photo of you holding up this book right here, Lethal Voyage. You got your copy. I saw you holding this up. Fantastic. A lot of the TWB viewers have taken a shot at that book. Andrew is here saying, hi, Bruce. Michelle, how about an easy bake oven? Oh, my gosh. You asked for it in 1973. My sister got an easy bake oven in about 66. And my youngest sister, she got one, I think, in also around 69 or 71 or something like that. That was a very popular gift for a long time. Sylvan, ideal gift is cruise tickets, but not on Carnival. There you go. Brittany, arts and crafts type of thing is what I believe I asked for Christmas time. Laurie, any inside info about Alaska 2021 on husband's bucket list as teachers? We get vaccinated real soon. The 2021 cruise season for Alaska is still up in the air. It's up to Canada whether it's going to happen or not. It's really up to Canada. Will Canada open the borders for cruise ships by April? If they open the border, the terminals, the ports in Vancouver, Victoria, Nanaimo, British Columbia, over in Eastern Canada, Halifax, St. John's, New Brunswick, Charlottetown, PEI, St. John, Newfoundland, Quebec City, Montreal, if those ports are opened by April, we will see Atlantic Canada sailings and we'll see Alaska sailings in the West. But if Canada doesn't open the ports and if the USA CDC doesn't allow sailing until July or August, forget about Alaska. So we'll wait. We'll cross our fingers, see what happens. Robert Glenn, the most memorable gift was a reel-to-reel recorder in 1968. Oh, man. I remember the big tape recorders, those Ampegs. You remember those? I remember those early versions. And then I remember the first time I ever saw a cassette recorder. It wasn't a reel-to-reel. It was a cassette recorder. This would have been 1970, 71. And my dad had a music store when I was a kid, and I worked in my dad's music store, and he ordered in, I don't know why, he ordered in one of these cassette recorders. I don't know how he got it, but he got in this cassette recorder. And we had a blank cassette tape. And I remember my dad turning it on. And you had in those days a microphone you held in your hand. It was only about 4 inches long with a little wire that you plugged into the side of it. And I remembered him talking into this thing. And then my dad had a manager of the store. His name was George. He had George talk into it. Then he had me talk into it. I didn't know what to say. I just said, hey, how you doing? Bruce here. And then he rewound it, and then he played it. It was the first time in my life that I heard myself on anything. And I couldn't believe what I sounded like. And I heard my dad. I went, that's just like what my dad sounds like. And I heard George. He goes, that's just what George sounds like. Then I heard the third voice and went, who's that? Oh, that's me. That's what I sound like? It was huge. That was a big deal. But, I didn't play with it very much. You would have thought that as a younger guy, I was probably 15, 16. I didn't play with that thing very much. We had guitars in the store. I didn't play with the guitar and record myself and all that. It just kind of sat there. It was very weird that as a young guy, that I didn't think much of it to play with it. Richard Eves, Play-Doh, never got my Play-Doh. Oh, man, I guess Mom didn't want it around the house. Arc Adventures, Nintendo 89, I got it. Right on. Terry Gallant, is an open deposit made aboard a Royal Caribbean ship treated the same as a future cruise credit for a canceled cruise with regards to extending the book by date? I think if you have an open deposit, you can do whatever you want with it. Request the money back anytime you want. Use it for whatever cruise you want anytime. I think a future cruise credit, you're locked in right now on certain dates unless the cruise line adjusts those dates. That's my personal guess on that one. Shane, love your stream, Bruce. Beside heightened PE ratios, what were some signs in the past that a crash or a bear market is coming? Well, there are stocks out there trading at levels that are unbelievable, and there are no earnings at all. There are companies that have zero earnings trading at unbelievable prices per share. This is reminding me of 1999 when the dot-com bubble burst. But at that time, to be fair, the dot-com bubble, that era of the market in 99, 2000, 2001, there were companies that had gone public that hadn't even figured out a business plan yet. They were able to go public with a proposed business plan, which blows me away. I cannot believe how many companies listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange with companies that hadn't even got a business running yet. Companies were proposing to run like a delivery service for groceries or other services and other all kinds of other high-tech areas. They were ahead of their time by about 10, 15 years, actually. They should have gone public back then, but at that time there was an insatiable appetite for anything newer, new wave, internet. There was money available because the web, the internet, kind of started off in 91, 92, 93, and by 99, it was 6, 7, 8 years that the internet had been evolving, and Wall Street figured, we got to back a bunch of these startups, because if we don't, we miss the boat. Well, they were backing entities that should have gone public for at least 10 more years, but there was money being made. These new issues came out, and the stocks took off on the possibility that there might be a business plan that might make sense someday for this business idea. Where today, companies are going public now where they've learned their lesson. Wall Street has figured out we're not going to issue stock in a public company unless they've already got a business running. They've got cash flow, or at least, customers and examples of goods and services being rendered online. And so companies are going public with at least that much behind them. But number two, Wall Street's figured out something else. And so the insiders and founders of many of these companies, they figured out, you know what? We're only going to issue 10% to 15% of the company to the public. We're not even going to issue more than that. Of all the shares that exist, we're only going to let the street, the actual members of the public, that includes mutual funds, that includes hedge funds, all the investment bankers, all the stock that can free trade, we're only going to allow 15% of the company to be in that category. 85% of the company is going to be held by the founders of the company, employees of the company. They're not going to go out there. And that way, no one can take the public company away from us. Do you remember a company named Groupon? Do you remember when Groupon went public? This was in the, this would have been in the early 2000s, I think, maybe after the dot-com bubble. But Groupon went public. And they were issuing coupons on the internet, on your phone, on your computer that you could print off at home for a special deal. It would be a promotional deal. I had a store in Calgary selling sports merchandise, hats, hockey jerseys, NFL jerseys, keychains with football logos, baseball logos, you name it. I had all kinds of logos on anything you can imagine, beer steins and coffee mugs. And I did a deal with Groupon out of Chicago. I offered a 50% off coupon in my store. You could buy this thing for 10 or 20 bucks, 20 bucks, I think, and you could get 50% off any purchase up to like $200. So people were coming in with these Groupons and buying 180 bucks worth of stuff, giving me $90. I already got 10 of the 20. Groupon got the other 10 of the 20. That's how Groupon made money. Anyway, Groupon went public with a young guy who's the founder, creator of the whole thing, but they issued about 80% of the company to the public. He only had about 20% of the company. And after a couple of years, the company wasn't growing as fast as it used to grow, and people got impatient, including brokerage firms, and they voted him out. They voted him out of his own company. He got fired, and he had to quit his job. He had lost control of his company. And unfortunately, by the time that happened, the shares were much lower in price. They had rocketed and they backed off. But that happened back then. Now, these new companies going public, they're trading at 150 bucks a share, don't make any money, still losing money, but losing less than they were 5 years ago when they were first created. So the road to profitability is just ahead, perhaps. They've got $1 billion cash in the bank. They've got all kinds of funding, and there's only 15 to 20% of the stock out there trading. The rest is held by the insiders, and they're not selling. And they're not going to sell, because if they sell, they could lose their jobs and lose control of their company. So they're never doing it. That's what happened when Facebook went public. That's what happened when Google went public. Google's founders, they own a separate class of shares that actually control 90% of all the votes of shareholder votes. Even though they only own a small percentage of the overall corporation, they've got most of the votes. They can't be kicked out of their company. That's what founders are doing now. Brokers are going with this because of the stability of the company in a way, but also that's the price that founders are saying. You want to take me public? This is what I want. I want a bunch of money in my bank account, way more than I could have ever raised privately, and I want total control. And it's working because the stocks are doing very well. However, for those of you out there trying to buy into IPOs, brand new offerings, you're not getting the cheap stock, are you? You're not getting the stock at the same price Merrill Lynch is buying it for, Bank of America, Templeton Mutual Fund, this retirement fund, or any. You're not getting those shares at the IPO price. You have to wait until the shares trade on the open market after the IPO. And so Snowflake or DoorDash, these companies start trading at unbelievable prices over their IPO prices. That's where you can get in. You're the last guy in the party. You're the one paying the most. You're a loser. And I recommend stay away from these stocks. If you want to buy stock in the market where you're kind of in the ground floor, buy SPACs, buy special public acquisition corporations. These are companies go public at about $10 a share. They trade between $10 and $12, $13 before they make an acquisition of a private company and take it public on a reverse takeover. The SPAC ends up, the original shareholders of the SPAC end up owning 20% of the full company when it's vended together in one big unit. So you take a big private company, you take a SPAC, it issues a bunch of stock to the private company to put the private company into the public company, and it's now trading as whatever it's called, the gambling company. I'm trying to remember the name of the gambling company that went public a little while ago. Forgive me. They went public via a SPAC, and you could have bought the DraftKings. That's who it is. DraftKings. You could have bought DraftKings when it was a SPAC back around $10, $12 a share. DraftKings are now trading at about $49 a share. There are other examples of SPACs that are trading higher or lower than that. But if you can get in around $10, $11 on a SPAC and then just sit back and wait for them to make their acquisition, good for you, because these companies have to make an acquisition within 2 years of going public. They can't just sit there at $10 a share and do nothing. They've raised anywhere from $300 million to $1 billion or more, tons of cash. They got to give all the money back in 2 years if they don't acquire something. When they make an acquisition, now you own whatever they own, but it's a well-funded company because your company's full of cash. And so that's how this game works. I think that's the way to go for small investors. Just buy SPAC stocks and just sit there. Buy 10 of them. Buy 10 shares of this one, 10 of this one, 10 of this one. Put in $1,000, $100 into 10 different companies and just sit there and wait. 24 months or less, they have to buy something. And even if they only go to $20 a share, maybe you've doubled your money. What's wrong with that? Anyway, that's just me. Michelle, Silly Putty and the comics from the newspaper. Loved making prints with that. Silly Putty on a comic in the newspaper. You smush it down, lift the Silly Putty, and there's the comic right there on the Silly Putty. And then you put it on the wall, and your mom would kill you. I remember those days. Sandy Robinson, I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas from rainy, windy Malibu. When I was 12, I saw a beautiful doll that I wanted. Mom told me I was too old. However, it was under the Christmas tree Christmas morning. Fantastic story. Virtual Coffee Lab. Hello, Bruce, Mike, and Leanne from Grouse Point Woods, Michigan. We always enjoy your live videos, your shows, live videos. Thank you for all your hard work in 2020. Thank you guys for your support, following me, watching me. Welcome, Darlene Meyer, People's Republic, San Francisco. Shane from joining me on the Stock Markets with Bruce channel. There's a bunch of you over there. I love that. Rocky Grasso. Hi, Bruce. I have no ginger beer, so I'm sipping Gosling's Black Seal on the rocks. Arc Adventures, Bruce, you got 29 thumbs ups. Thank you, all of you, giving me thumbs ups tonight. I do appreciate it. If you can spare a thumbs ups on the Stock Market with Bruce channel, Traveling with Bruce channel, I would appreciate it very much. It really helps the analytics. Thank you, Bruce, for this information. Michelle says it's going to take a lot of things to be in place before cruising can start back the right way. Kirk Brunson, I did a mock cruise for New York City to Bermuda, Norwegian Gem, $3,200 for 2 adults, 1 child, and all 5 free offers for Feb 2022. Noah, what is your favorite ship you've ever been on? Well, I haven't been on enough. I did enjoy the Norwegian Jade. I really liked the spa, liked the size of the ship. I also enjoyed the Norwegian Epic. Newer ship, of course. It was only about 3 years old when I went on it, and really liked the spa. It's at the back of the ship with a balcony that you can sit on in a lounger and look out the back of the ship. Love that. Enjoyed the Oosterdam for Holland America. Liked the Ruby Princess on Princess Cruises. That's a few. We were on the Explorer of the Seas. It was okay. Didn't like the spa as much though as I do on Norwegian or on Holland America. I like those more. Michelle, good luck. Kirk Brunson, Sylvan, SS France, and again on the NCL Norway. Nikki Singleton, hi all. Roger, Nikki are here. We're in Jacksonville, Florida, 53 clear, waiting for the last full moon of 2020 tomorrow evening. Happy New Year to all of you out there. Daniel Fields, hello everybody. Kirk Brunson, love the gem. Ken Kachira, the CDC is under the Department of Health and Human Services. The new policymakers are appointed by the president, and the key people must all have confirmation hearing to be confirmed by the Senate first. So there's going to be all kinds of stuff happening. Nikki, in grade school, I was fascinated by castanets. That was the only thing I wanted for Christmas, but hard to find in a small town. South Carolina, pre-internet, such a disappointment. Very interesting, castanets. Susan R., hi all from Metro DC. Bruce, they don't even know how long the vaccines will last. Maybe they'll figure that one out soon. That's true. How long will the vaccines keep us safe? We don't even know. C-Dub, we just pushed our August 2021 cruise back-to-back Vancouver to Alaska cruises out to 2022. Too much uncertainty about the vaccine rollout and possible Canadian cruise ship ban in 2021. Very smart move. I agree with that. Jess Jane, hey Bruce, happy holidays. Watching from New Jersey. Welcome, Jess Jane. Adventures with Duncan. EV stock was a buy today. INO day will be here. Interesting. Tony Peria, happy holidays to all. Cruises, no. Too risky for the next 2 years, I would say. Paul Stevens, what are Wall Street analysts, why are they ignoring the fundamentals and challenges facing cruise lines? They're all still pumping and raising targets. I know. They're letting the stock affect their projections. The stock price goes up, they raise their price targets. Ridiculous. They should be leading the way. And I'm thinking the cruise shares should be at least 50% lower than they are right now. They're not even worth half what they're trading at. Sorry to say, but these companies are billions in the hole. They're going to be in billions more in the hole by the time they start sailings. They have to raise another 10 billion. That's 10 billion more. Just Carnival, Royal Caribbean, and Norwegian collectively with all their subsidiary cruise lines, they need another 10 billion in their bank account between now and startup cruise time. And that's assuming they're not going to have a massive expense from the CDC to re-engineer their ships and the cost of getting their crews together. I don't like the shares where they are right now. Shane, there's a finite amount of lithium to make all these EV batteries. Thoughts on investing in lithium miners, processing plants? Well, it's an easy statement to make, but it's a hard investment to find. I just don't have any lithium favorites to send you to. I really don't know any, but I agree with that comment. But I will say that hydrogen is another possibility. But the good news for lithium batteries is they last a long time, and then they can be recycled and re-engineered again. And the good news also in the battery business that we've had now for the last, 50 years? In the USA, over 99% of all batteries for vehicles, boats, trucks, get recycled now. And that's good news for the environment going forward. So happy about that. Gaming text. Hello, Bruce and everybody. Welcome to the show. Adventure with Duncan. Shane, have a look at SBE. Alex, good evening, Bruce. I came to hear about how everything is going well and we can cruise soon. I would like to say it's all happening, but I can't really. Margie, switch to Traveling Channel. Thank you, Margie, for being here. Lori, we are still waiting for 50% of our refund from last March cancellation. Princess isn't in a hurry, but still trying to get us to rebook. Not until I see my money. Show me the money. Fatima, I think your idea about this group insurance is excellent. I don't see any flaws. Why do you think the cruise lines are not doing this? I don't know. I really don't know. I think they have an absolute excellent opportunity to score a major home run. I will predict, if I had to guess which cruise line would be the first one to pull this off, from everything I've seen, from their marketing, from their customer care, from their reputation. My guess is the first cruise line that would do it, Viking Ocean Cruises. They would be the first one. If I had to guess, the integrity of the Viking management, I think, is so high that I bet that they would be the first one. I'm shocked they haven't done it. I really am, because they've got 6 or 7 ships now with 940 passengers per cruise. When they get sailing again, and they've got 5 or 6 ships on order. I mean, they got more coming. They got expedition cruises coming. They've got the river cruises. They could combine it all. That would put them now at probably 70 ships. They are offering probably 1 million cruisers a year sailings once everything is up and running again. And in the case of Viking, every Viking Ocean ship is a balcony cabin. So, they'll go at 85% capacity, no problem. The river cruises are all French door balconies. So no reason for 85% occupancy. I could see them offering 1 million cruises a year, and they could go to the insurance companies and say, we're going to buy a 5-year package from you guys, which will be paid in its monthly installments. It's not like the cruise money has to come up with the money up front for 5 years. It's just a monthly payment once the policy kicks in. But I can see a 60-month commitment for 1 million policies a year, 5 million policies coming in at pennies on the dollar versus what we would have to pay for one individual policy. Just think of the labor to create the dang thing, to sell it to us, to collect the money from us. It's a pain in the rear end. We're here, you're just issuing so many policies a week, 20,000 a week or whatever the number is on an ongoing basis. It's just a rollover deal, and the cruise lines is making monthly payments for 5 years. I think this is a no-brainer for both parties. I do not understand. I really don't understand why it isn't already done. And for Carnival, with now, they used to have 105 ships or whatever the number was, 120 ships. They have 90, 95 ships. You're talking about Carnival handling, 10 million cruisers a year, 12, 14 million a year? 14 million a year, 5-year deal. 70 million insurance policies to be purchased from one winning bid. You don't think that the guys at these insurance companies, their boards would be meeting to get that deal, to nail down that contract? And then when Norwegian comes calling, MSC comes along, Royal Caribbean. I mean, if one cruise line does it, all will do it. They'll all do it. Only one has to do it. But if Viking did it, they might be alone for a while until the other 6 stars come along. But to me, I think the folks at Carnival should be the leaders of this right now. Right now, they should be negotiating this deal behind closed doors, secretly putting it together, and coming up with the ultimate protection package for every cruiser. I see this. There's still the theory is maybe these companies are thinking, well, the passengers might abuse it. Well, you can put in fine print to keep shysters out of the mix. Like people pretend to twist their ankle, and now they get covered for their ulcers that they didn't want to pay for at home. All this nonsense. There's ways to protect. There's pre-existing and all that. There's ways to protect, but a bona fide, genuine on board the cruise ship issue, or on a tour, what have you, and COVID and evac, this can be covered. There's ways, and there's enough policy payers into the system to pay this off. I think this can work. I really do. That's just me, though. Alex, do you think the hotel stocks are under the same umbrella as airlines and cruises? Yes. I do. I would say that hotels, the issue is, of course, if you have a hotel property in Tampa and Tampa has an outbreak, 3 months from now, even with vaccines, there's a big Tampa will get shut down. Now, if you're a single property owner of a hotel in Tampa, you're not on the stock exchange. So investors won't have to worry about that. But the property owner has a problem. If Tampa gets shut down and Holiday Inn has different properties there, and Hilton and Marriott, they'll all get shut down. But that's just one city. The rest of the chain will still be operating, hopefully globally, okay. So the stocks won't have an issue. If it's a state of Florida or the state of California has a secondary outbreak, a third outbreak, Las Vegas has to get shut down again, then that could affect hotel stocks as a whole to a degree. But the bigger the hoteliers, hopefully the globe will have its case counts drop dramatically and travel will be allowed to build again. Then the hotels might see a better day. But hotels have been raising money too to survive. They've lost billions of dollars. They're in the hole and they are carrying debt going forward. If interest rates go up or if currencies drop, certain currencies get weak, certain hotel franchisees might be in trouble. This could affect it too. We'll have to watch that. Sylvan, the Band-Aid is free, but the ship's doctor applies a $350 service charge. And this is where insurance will come in. There'll be negotiated pricing between the insurance company and the cruise lines for their onboard doctors inside the policy. So you as a passenger come in for that Band-Aid. It's no charge. You got your Band-Aid, you go back and holiday. The cruise line is not going to pay $350. The insurance won't pay the cruise line $350 for the Band-Aid. That's a pre-negotiated deal. Might be $20, $25. It's a negotiated deal. But the passengers now will not be afraid to go down there to get treatment. So there's more volume, lower cost, more equitable, none of these outrageous charges. There's a way to make this work. There's a way. Alex, hey, I'm one of those 26-year-old kids that watch your videos. Haha, welcome, Alex. Alex, the 80s were unbelievable. And the 70s, you cannot believe what it was like in the 70s. Let me tell you right now. Rocky, that's a nice sipping rum you got there. Piccolo, what's the product's name? I just joined in. What's the product's name? I don't know what you're referring to. It's been so long since I got this message. Jack Wise, Lincoln Logs, and an erector set. Oh, that's what you wanted when you were a kid. Lincoln Logs and an erector set. Oh, yeah. I remember asking for Hot Wheels, and I got them. I remember asking for an Eldon race car set, and I got it. 1965. My dad had a good year that year, so I got that set. Zane, Abercrombie and Kent has always required $100,000 in travel insurance for their cruises to the polar regions on Ponant ships. Very smart for all parties involved. I agree. I totally agree. Sharon, I'm getting belated Hanukkah gift this year. Google is no longer offering security upgrades for my Pixel 2 telephone, which I love. Sadness. So my belated gift is a new. It's going to be getting a new phone. Way to go, Sharon. Fantastic. Fly Everest. Will insurance stocks have a place in portfolios? Yes, they do well, depending on the company, of course. Let me just see here. Next message. Alex, so did Bruce make enough off GameStop to take a world cruise? Bruce does not own any stock. I don't own any shares in any company. I don't short any. I don't have options. I don't play the market. I am all in with this. I live month to month on this, and this has been fun for 3 years and 4 months. Jennifer and I, we get by. But it's all about the views and the donations. That's why I'm so grateful to all of you. Darlene, hi, Bruce and TWB family from 54 degrees, Turlock, California. Happy to catch you live again. It's been a while. Thank you for being here. If any of you have done well with GameStop, you bought 1,000 shares at $5. Now they're $22, and you've made a killing, and you sold them and cashed in. I would welcome a finder fee gift from that, but it's totally up to you. No obligation, but man, way to go. I know some of you have done well with it. Donato, happy New Year. Bruce, thank you, Donato Fernando. Susan R. Bruce, that included insurance for all was your idea. I know, I said this 2 years ago. People's Republic San Francisco here for the Costco ice cream samples. Oh man, you're killing me. Alex, I heard Bruce was setting up another group cruise for next year in Monaco. Wouldn't that be great? Shane, Adventures with Duncan looks like SBE is a SPAC. Bruce, how do you determine growth potential on a SPAC? I've already mentioned it. Sharon, good review, bad review, it doesn't matter. The more reviews, the better. Thanks, everybody. Susan R, full in. Susan R, full insurance. Website, WB, great. John Weir, Bruce, does Jennifer offer a quick hair trim to hubby for Christmas? We talked about that today, actually. We talked about it today about how this hair is bugging me, because I've got this way back here. I mean, it's almost like I'm going to be Barry Melrose from the Los Angeles Kings, but I haven't got that mullet. It's driving me crazy, but there's nothing I can do about it. I have to live with what I've got, and there isn't much on the top. It's just hanging off the sides and the back. But eventually, we'll get it looked after. Rebecca, Marty always buys me chicken items. Air fryer this year. I think I finally got the hints. I think he finally got the hints all these years. Rebecca, I wanted a 10-speed when they were popular in the 70s, but instead I got a Pee Wee Herman beach bike. I bet you if you still have that bike in mint condition, it's worth a fortune. I bet you it is. Debbie Emanuel, hi, Bruce and TWB and Stock Market Channel. I always wanted an easy bake oven when I was younger. I never got one, just big people ones. Yes, I know the feeling. That has been a very popular toy. What about a Slinky? I think a lot of kids asked for Slinkies and then they got them because they weren't that expensive and they didn't make a mess per se. You didn't have any chemicals. They didn't fall apart necessarily. Didn't need batteries. So I think a lot of kids got those Slinkies when they wanted them. Piccolo, the USA should suspend the Jones Act for a year. People have talked about that. Donato, if you will cruise this summer, you need 28 extra days for quarantine. That's true. Rebecca, Robert, I still have all of our reel-to-reel from when we were little. I still have those. I have it converted to a CD. Andrew, me and my friend and family are booked on the NCL breakaway leaving out of New Orleans March 22nd, 2022. March 27th, 2022. Right on. Arc, Andy here. My most memorable was a Tyco train. My parents allowed us to open one on Christmas Eve, and I chose this big train set to open. Best gift ever. That is awesome. A Tyco train set. Fly Everest Tips for Travelers channel reported that the cruise lines are encouraging travel pros to direct cruisers towards booking in 2022 instead of 2021. Their stock will plummet. Yes, look at 2022. Don't look at 2021. I say, Alex, a company with a $10 in earnings right now wouldn't be a $1 stock because they've already priced in things getting better, right? Catherine Bennett, hi, Bruce from Ottawa, Ontario. I have my cassette recorder still packed away. I got a Chatty doll in 1965. Oh, man. My Hot Wheels set. I had a Hot Wheels collection. I either bought it for myself or my mother bought it for my birthday because I got Christmas, birthday. I built my Hot Wheels up. I had my track with the loop, and I had a round plastic container that held all my cars. It looked like a giant Goodyear tire with a handle on top of it. I could carry 20 different cars in this thing. And it was in mint condition. I took, generally speaking, when I got older, when I hit about 11, 12, I took really good care of my toys. And I got my Hot Wheels when I was about 11, 12, 14, 15, right up until about then, 14 maybe. And they were in mint condition, mint. And all of my toys were in the house with my mom and dad. And they were all tucked away under a staircase. There was a stair area there, some storage area. That's where I put all my toys. And I hadn't played with them for years. And I moved out of the house after I met Jennifer. She and I moved in together. We were both 21. We were in a one-bedroom apartment, no room for toys, so we were just living together. And then we moved to Calgary together. Left all my toys behind. I didn't bring them with me. and my mother gave them away. I think there were kids in the neighborhood that inherited my toys. And I'm sure that they were played with and enjoyed for years. And I don't know what kind of condition these kids kept these toys in, but I'm going to guess that they were beat up pretty well eventually and are no longer anywhere. But if I had today that Hot Wheels set, if I had that Hot Wheels set and those cars in the mint condition that I had them in, I think I would be a very happy guy with respect to how much they're worth. But long gone, kids, long gone. Just Jane, yes, Michelle, I love my Easy Bake Oven. Such a good memory. Just Jane, yes, Michelle, love my Easy Bake Oven. Suzanne Morrow, when do you think cruising will start with all the knowledge you have? Fall of 2021 at the earliest. We'll be back at it in a limited way. Stock Doctor, what do you think about the ARK ETFs run by Kathy Wood? They all perform really well, about 230% in the past 5 years on all the ETFs. Don't know them. I can't give you an honest opinion, so I can't tell you. Michelle, it sure was quite the year. Jeannie, favorite ship, the Ruby Princess Alaska Cruise 2015. Sure. I love the Waste of the Season 2019. That was before its upgrade. Ricardo, hi, Bruce. Any other YouTuber getting stiffed by YouTube? Thousands. There were thousands of channels between about 10, 15,000 subscribers up to about 80,000 subscribers. In that range, there were thousands of us that got shut down from ad revenue for a minimum of 6 weeks. September, the last 2 weeks, all of October. I don't know beyond that. But in my case, it was 6 weeks. The first 10 days of December looked iffy, but then they came back. No, not December. No, November looked iffy, but then it came around. November, I got paid out like I should have for what I did, but it was way down. December looks okay, looks normal, but 6 weeks, the last 2 weeks of September, all of October, after the fact, after the month ends were over, then we found out that they took it all away from us. That was really dirty pool. And I will never forgive them for it, but what can I do about it? Not a darn thing. Thousands of channels. Fingers crossed we'll make it back on next summer for cruising. Danielle, can you comment on macro, especially regarding the dollar, gold as a storm of value, Bitcoin? And are you concerned about China's foray into digital currency and perhaps becoming the new reserve? I would not touch Bitcoin. I won't touch it. I will not play digital currency. I will not put any cash in there at all. Too old. I'm just too old, and I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in the Chinese currency because the rules change depending on the mood of the communist chairman, whoever. And Alibaba is a clear example of what's happening. There will be others like it where executives just didn't show up for work today. They're in a jail somewhere being suspected of who knows what. Wouldn't touch that investment with a 10-foot cattle prod. If you believe in investing in companies that are heavily involved in China, good luck to you. Apple at this point has a very strong relationship with China, but I think they're too dependent on the country for their long-term profitability. This is personal opinion. I would be spread out much more than that. I understand Apple's game, though. Why not make these in China and not buy the factory, not create the factory, not employ the workers, just have it done under contract? I get it, but I would be much more comfortable if Apple had their products like this and everything else produced globally and not just China. Now, I think they do have factories elsewhere. I'm not saying they don't, but they might be leaning too heavily on one area. But, it's worked since the 80s and the 90s, 2000s worked. But the China thing, what's happening in Hong Kong, just not interested. I just am not interested. 2 Canadians are in prison there as pawns. They're hostages because of a Chinese woman being held in house arrest in Vancouver. Don't trust these guys. Just don't. Sorry. Callum, hey, it's me. How you doing, Callum? Welcome. I am back. Welcome back. Foxy, Bruce. Hello there, Bruce, my good man. It's Foxy and Brighton. How you doing, buddy? England speaks. Nice to see you again. I hope you had a lovely, peaceful Christmas. We love you. We did very well, Foxy. Nice to see you. Ricardo, football and a pair of Converse sneakers is what I wanted for Christmas. And way to go. Way to go. John, Bruce, have been an investor for 40 years, stocks and bonds. The only one that gets hurt on a roller coaster ride is the one who jumps off before the ride is over, or the one getting in at the end of the ride, the one getting in at the top of the hill, maybe. Michelle, Bruce, I think you should patent your idea, make some money off of it. Oh, good luck with that. Sadly, a lockdown brightness, but happier days are ahead, says Foxy. And easier to see now, I can assure you that. Also, a freezing cold in Brighton. Alex, the cruise lines probably figure the average cruiser is a little older in age and don't want to deal with the extra costs or risks. Jack Wise, when I heard, when I was a hotel controller, we were well aware that nothing was more perishable than last night's empty room. That's right. Alex, why do you not invest in the market? I just don't have enough dough for that. We're not well enough off for that kind of stuff. We're going just kind of getting by. We're just getting by these days. Got to get my channel up to millions of viewers, and then I'll be rich. Thank you, everybody. Stock Doctor, what do you use to make the comments appear on the screen? I'm using StreamYard. I'm using StreamYard here for this podcast, this broadcast. Alex, Bruce's mullet is looking good. Tim Bowman, I like your insurance plan. Life insurance company sells policies to cruise lines. You can bet they'll also place conditions on the cruise line more stringent. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah, and more stringent than CDC. I agree with that. Facebook user, hello, Bruce. Keep up the great work. I still have all of my Hot Wheels and the cities. Oh, my God. Donato, I just want Coca-Cola and a yo-yo. That's all I wanted. Foxy, although happier days are ahead, Bruce, I personally don't expect to make big plans until, say, the other side of spring or summer 2021. I hear you there. Matthew Hoffman, Barry Melrose from the LA Kings, the same Barry Melrose in Tampa, even with a tremendous Steven Stamkos ad campaign across the city, says Stamkos wasn't ready for the pros. Bye, Barry. Arc Adventures, Facebook should have bought Groupon. Groupon's problem is razor-thin margins, but Facebook could sell the heck out of them. Matthew Hoffman, that dates you, Bruce, the Barry Melrose area with the Kings. Alex, what are your thoughts on the Alibaba monopoly accusation? If you haven't already mentioned, I think Jack Ma was right in what he said about China, but China is getting at him now. Fly Everest, my son-in-law bought for himself this Christmas a vintage mint, unopened set of Pokemon cards. He's selling them piecemeal and looks like he'll make a couple of $1,000s in profit. Who knew? I know, it's insane. Rocky, I love the Ruby Princess, our first Mediterranean cruise, but my favorite ship was Anthem of the Seas. Jack Bauer, hey, Bruce, getting late here. Sorry, but still think to sell cruise stocks. Sell cruise stocks. Jeannie, the most memorable cruise, my birthday cruise on March the 2nd, 2020. On the Mariner, just hoping to cruise again in a few days. I will be able to say cruising looks good next year for 2022. Callum, hi, man. What is your favorite year so far in your life? Oh, my gosh. I don't know. Every year's special. 76 is a good year. Kind of met this gal named Jennifer. It was pretty cool. Callum, and why was that your favorite year? Kind of Jennifer. John, Bruce, COVID is the first thing we brought in from China. That lasts more than a year. Foxy, I should think 2022 cruise will be far better place and far less restrictive. I agree with that. Ark, great show and have a great night. Thank you. Alex, would you recommend investing in Alibaba or with it being no? Don't go near that. Don't go near anything China. Facebook, don't forget to give those thumbs ups. And let's get Bruce those subscribers so he can buy stock. That's right. Please watch my shows. And then I can buy stock too. Thank you, everybody. Guys, you've just been terrific tonight. I really enjoyed having you here tonight. It's 9:33 Eastern. We've been on for an hour and 30 minutes. And I thank you all for your support of TWB, whether you're picking up items like these TWB items on RedBubble, my coffee mugs, whether you're sending me donations, send me a $10 US donation on PayPal. I'll send you one of these postcards from Creston, custom-made TWB postcard. Been sending those out around the world. Thank you, all of you, for these donations. Very much appreciate it. You've just been terrific. Kevin and I sailed on Anthem twice, and it's a lovely ship, says Sharon. But we prefer the Oasis class. It's got a lot more entertainment venues like the Comedy Club and the Karaoke Lounge. Gaming Text says goodbye, everybody. Happy New Year. Jack Bauer, thank you. Stay safe. We love your show. Callum Daniels, goodbye, man. Thanks, Callum. Fly Everest, awesome show as always, Bruce. Big thumbs ups for you. Sharon, thanks for another great show, Bruce. Jack Wise, I sold my Norwegian at 26.30. It dropped to 24, now back to 25.35. I am still ahead of the game. I have a buyer in at 20. Put in a buyer at 12. It'll come back to you. It'll come back. Michelle, thank you, Bruce. Great show. Thank you. Alex, do you like SPAC ETFs? Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. If you can find a good one, I'd recommend it. But I like ETFs on their own too. Just SPACs on their own. Just put $100 into a SPAC and buy 5, 10, 20, whatever you can afford. Buy a bunch of them, put them away, and just watch. 26 thumbs ups on the stock market channel, 70 thumbs ups on TWB. Thank you, everybody, for thumbs upping these two channels tonight. It helps. It really helps with the analytics. The more you can give me thumbs ups, the more interaction that YouTube says is happening between creator and viewer, and that raises the profile of my channel. Thank you all for doing that. Take care, Bruce. We'll see you again soon, says Foxy. Thank you. We're doing great. When do you think cruise lines will get back to pre-COVID times? 2024, 2025, maybe never. Noah, great show. Can't wait for the next week in the new year. Robert, great show, Bruce. Thank you, guys. Everybody, thank you for being here tonight. Really appreciate it. Have a great evening, everybody. Stay warm, stay safe, stay healthy, social distance. Enjoy the new year coming up. Catch me Friday on the sponsor member channel, on the sponsor member show on this channel, TWB at 3 o'clock Eastern time. We'll have trivia ready for you. And catch me here next Monday, 7 o'clock for sponsor members, 8 o'clock on the big channel. Love to have you. Join me for 2021 and keep an eye for any videos in the meantime. Alex, have a good night, Bruce and viewers. Glad we can all come together and cry about cruises. Foxy, if you're ending your show, I'll see you fairly soon. Thank you. Callum, Happy New Year. Thank you. You too, Callum. Gosh, Rihanna, Ricardo, I should think 2021. I should think getting your question right there. Jeannie, good night all and have a good new year. There you have it. Thank you, everybody, for popping in. Happy New Year from Sharon. We'll see you next time on Traveling with Bruce, Stock Markets with Bruce, and Traveling with Bruce on Facebook. Come and join us there too, guys. Thank you. Have a pleasant evening. See you next time. Bye for now.